everyone and welcome to the social science revision session. So in this video we will be doing revision of the lessons which are there for your half-yearly exams. So let's begin. So the first set of questions, children, the revision sheet is attached here only. So in the revision sheet you will find the first set of questions. The first set is based on fill in the blanks. So the first sentence is the western part built on the raised ground in Indus cities was known as dash, and the correct answer is citadel or acropolis. Remember when we studied about the town planning of the cities of Indus Valley civilization, we read that the city was divided into two parts, the upper city and of course the lower city. So here we are talking about the raised ground, that is the upper part of the city, which was called citadel area or acropolis. The second one, dash and dash are often referred to as twin capitals, the two major cities of Indus Valley civilization. So these are Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. Moving on to the next one, in dash age, the early humans learned the technique of sowing seeds, growing plants and harvesting them. So all these are included in what? Of course, in farming, isn't it? And the correct answer is in Neolithic age, early man started with farming. They started leading a settled life and they started with the farming, with the agricultural work. The next sentence, dash was the early form of trade. So the earliest form of trade, what was it? Of course, barter system, where people used to exchange goods. Why? Because money was not there at that time, isn't it? So the goods which they produced, they were exchanged and is known as barter system. Next is an imaginary line joining the two poles is called the dash. So the imaginary line which is joining the North Pole and the South Pole, that is axis. Moving on to the next one, lines running parallel to the equator. So what are they called? The ones which are running parallel to the equator. They don't meet each other, isn't it? So these are the lines of latitude or parallels, right? So you can either write latitudes or parallels. Next is dash and dash are two major social differences. So here you can write any, and the most prominent ones may be gender bias and caste system. So this is from the civics chapter diversity, where we talked about the diverse nature of our country. Then moving on to the next one, dash is the most popular form of government. So the most popular form of government is democracy. Next sentence says democracy comes from the Greek word dash and dash. So here we are talking about the origin of the word democracy, which comes from the Greek words demos and kratos. Next, in dash form of government, there is only one government for the whole country. So one government for the entire country. Here we are talking about that form of government where the power is concentrated at one point. It's not segregated, it's not distributed, and that is unitary form of government. Now moving ahead, we have answer in short. Question number 2 says answer in short. So here you will talk about the questions asked. You will write about the questions asked in short. But of course, your content should be complete. And I mean, whatever you write, the complete information should be there. Should be in short, but make sure that the information is complete. Your answer has complete information, the content, right? So, the first question says, town planning was the most stunning feature of Indus Valley cities. So we have read it very, very clearly in the lesson. In the earliest cities, we have read about the town planning, and we read in detail that the cities of Indus Valley, they were very well planned, isn't it? The planned layout was the most stunning feature of all Indus Valley cities. The cities were divided into two parts, the upper part and the lower part. The upper part was for the important people, rich merchants and priests who ruled over the city, and the lower part was for the common people, you can say. And apart from this, you can also mention the western part was built on the raised ground known as the citadel or the acropolis, and was surrounded by high brick walls, and it for protection from floods. And all important public buildings were there in the citadel area, whereas the lower part of the city was known as the other part, the eastern part of the city was known as lower town, where common people lived, right? So this is the answer for your first question. Next is write a note on the remarkable drainage system of the Indus Valley civilization. So here you will talk about the well-planned, very well organized drainage system, that there was a main drain and all the houses were connected to this main drain. The drains were covered. So this was, they were very cautious about the health and hygiene as well. This is what it reflects, and all these have been found during the excavation. All these have been found when the cities were excavated. So here you will talk about the drainage. Next is write a note on copper age. Find this answer on page number 24. Here there's a detail given about copper age here on this page, where it refers to the age also. So this copper stone age is also known as Chalcolithic age, and it extends from 4000 to 2000 BCE. Copper came into use since it was stronger as compared to stone. So the Chalcolithic age is important since it marks the shift from the use of stones to metals. So copper age is again a very important, you can say it's a very important question as well. Next is why did pottery making start during the Neolithic age? So in Neolithic age we find pottery, and pottery was quite well developed during this age, and the wheel was also used, and it's again given on page number 24 of your book. Farming gave rise to pottery making. At first they stored grains in large baskets, but then they felt the need of places where they could store more grains. So with this motive they started making big pots, right, where they could store grains. So the answer is there on page number 24. They were plain, different in color and had decorations on them. Earthen pots were used for cooking food as well. So you don't need to include when the, since fine, here you can include in this chapter, in this question where it talks about pottery making on the whole. If the question focuses more on farming, then you might not include for cooking purpose, right? Then moving on to the next question. Name all important lines of latitude. So now we shift to geography. And I hope all of you remember the different lines of latitude. The lines of latitudes are those which run from east to west. Don't get confused. So here you will talk about, you will mention all the important lines, that is equator 0 degree, then Tropic of Cancer 23.5 degree north, Tropic of Capricorn 23.5 degrees south, then Arctic Circle 66.5 degree north, Antarctic Circle 66.5 degrees south, then North Pole 90 degree north and South Pole 90 degree south. So children, you will mention here the measurement as well as the direction, north, south, both. Moving ahead to the next question, differentiate between local time and standard time. So this is there on page number 119, a complete heading. Under the heading local time and standard time, you will find out the answer here. So standard time of that country is the particular time calculated from that particular meridian which runs through that country. That is the local time. And what is the standard time? Standard time is the time calculated from one line of longitude, which is considered to be the time for the entire country, or else there is going to be a lot of confusion in the country, right? So I hope all of you know the difference between local time and standard time. Moving ahead, explain the following terms: diversity and gender bias. So these questions again, they are from civics and the chapter is diversity. So diversity means variety, and gender bias is the difference which is made in the society based on gender, that is males and females. The boys treated differently, the girls treated differently. So this is what gender bias is. Then next question says, how do the influence of foreigners contribute towards the diversity of a country? So again, this question is also from the same lesson, and influence of foreigners, it's on page number 207. So here you will get the complete answer. The history is the story of past. Indian history tells us about foreign influences that added to our diversity. Of course, the Indian history reflects how the complete history of the country has been influenced by by foreign influences. The foreigners brought their culture, their tradition, which mingled with the tradition of our own country, right? Which made, of course, our culture rich. So here you will talk about, since this is a short answer, you will mention this in short, and this question can come for long answer as well. So when it is a long answer, you write everything in detail. Fine. Then write a short note on democracy or monarchy. So again, this is again a very important question. Here you will write a note on democracy, either on democracy. So democracy is that form of government which has been, explained by Abraham Lincoln in the best way. And the definition is there in your book itself. It's a form of government which is formed for the people, it is formed by the people, and it belongs to the people as well, isn't it? So, and so here democracy, you can also write like in democracy it is that form of government where representatives are chosen, are elected by the people of the country, by the citizens of the country only. And of course monarchy is that system of government, that form of government where king is the head, he or she, the king or the queen is the supreme authority of the entire country. The complete power lies in the hand of the king or the queen. Then impeachment or public opinion. So we've come across impeachment in the chapter types of government only, and the answer is there on page number 220. It's a process, it's a very strict, a difficult process through which the president who is elected for a fixed term period can be removed if the president is found disloyal towards the country, right? And public opinion, this is again so simple to answer. Public opinion is the opinion of the group of people, mass of people, right? Then coming to answer in detail. What is a civilization? Why did most civilizations develop along the river? So in the previous video, I have explained you in detail. I have explained you thoroughly what is a civilization. Civilizations, in ancient times, the settlements were there, the groups of people lived in groups. Early man lived in groups because he felt that living alone is not safe. So they lived in groups, and these groups only gradually got civilized and they only formed civilization. Now the next part of the same question says, why did most civilizations develop along the river? So there were various reasons. The rivers, they provided food, they provided water, one of the essential things for survival. Without water we cannot survive, isn't it? So water of the river, they utilized the river water for various purposes, for cooking, for bathing, for cleaning, for various household purposes. And the fish in water, the fish in the rivers provided food to them. Apart from this, transportation was another reason. So because of all these reasons, we find that all the civilizations, early civilizations, the ancient civilizations, they flourished on the river banks. The next question is, write a note on the Great Bath. So first of all, you will mention where was this Great Bath, in which city was it found. It was found in the city of Mohenjo-daro, which is one of the important sites of Indus Valley civilization. And then, since it's a long answer, children, you have to elaborate it, right? So you will write this Great Bath was lined with layers of bricks and mortar, and it was made watertight with layers of natural tar, or also known as bitumen. Then there were rooms all around the tank. The northern and southern end of the Great Bath had baked brick steps leading down to the tank. It is assumed that the Great Bath had religious significance. People gathered here for religious ceremonies. and water was probably brought in from a well and drained out after use. So what I mean to say, since it's a long answer, you have to elaborate, right? Don't go for shortcuts. Next is write a note on the lifestyle of the tribal people. So here you will talk about the lifestyle of the tribals. Then moving on to the next, describe the site of Mehergarh. So again, here you will talk about the site of Mehergarh, right? The place Mehergarh, and talk about it in detail. Then differentiate, next question is differentiate between latitudes and longitudes. So here again we come to the geography section. Here you will write about the differences which are there between the latitudes, lines of latitudes, and lines of longitude, right? So latitudes are the lines which run from west to east, or you can write east to west, and longitudes are those lines which run from north to south. So a complete detail can be given. Now if it is mentioned write 2 points, you will write 2 points. I mean, if no number of points are there, then you will write down the complete answer, right? Whatever information you have about this question. Next, explain in detail any one heat zone. So here again, this is another question from geography. You will explain in detail any one of the heat zones, that is torrid zone, temperate zone, or frigid zone. So if you're writing about temperate zone, do mention the north temperate zone and the south temperate zone. If you're talking about the frigid zone, again north frigid zone, south frigid zone. The complete details should be there. Why? Because it's a long answer. Of course, write the measurement, write down the latitudes, everything. Next, why is international date line? So here you will write about the importance, the significance of international date line. You'll find the answer on page number 120. So international, the 180-degree meridian is called the international date line, and it is the same, it lies just at the back side of the prime meridian, isn't it? 0 degrees prime meridian, and right on the back side is international date line, that is 180 degree. Here you can also mention that 180 degree east and 180 degree west is the same meridian, and the most important thing, it's a zigzag line. It is not a straight line. Why zigzag? For the convenience of the date of the countries, right? So you will answer that in, complete answer should be there. Next, moving on to the civics chapters. What is a government? List few important functions performed by the government. So this is again from the lesson types of government, and what is, when it says what is a government, then our government is a leader, the chosen one, that makes policies for the welfare of the whole society. The government also makes certain rules to manage the country. It looks after the health, education, and all basic needs of the citizens. And functions, so here one by one there's a list of functions here on page number 218. You may write all those functions, right? The functions of the government. Next question, explain in detail the parliamentary form of government. Again, a very important and an interesting question. So parliamentary form of government, there are two heads. The head of the government is Prime Minister, who is directly elected by the people, as the member of parliament, and the second is the president, the head of the state, who is indirectly elected. He or she is not elected by the citizens, as is the case with the post of the prime minister. The president is elected through an electoral college. So here you will mention all about the parliamentary form of government, right? Then the last question, explain the anti-apartheid movement in detail. So this, this anti-apartheid movement has been explained in detail in the previous video. So do watch that video. You will get some extra information about the apartheid movement. Otherwise, let me tell you, this movement took place in South Africa to fight against discrimination, and it was this movement was led, the leader was Nelson Mandela, and he had to be in imprisonment for 27 long years by the South African government. But finally, in the year 1994, the blacks finally got their freedom, and Nelson Mandela became the first these blacks, they voted freely for the first time in the elections of 1994 and chose him as their leader. He formed the first mixed race government of South Africa, where the blacks and the whites had equal rights under the law. So a complete detail has been given on page number 224. So here you will get the information about anti-apartheid movement, and apart from this, please watch the video which has been posted earlier prior to this video. There a complete explanation has been given on anti-apartheid movement. So I hope the chapters, the questions, everything is very, very clear to all of you. So we'll meet again in the next session with some other topic. Thank you so much.